Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Kelly Redmon and I'm a licensed clinical social worker, therapist, and owner of Seven Seas Counseling, which is an exclusively online practice. And I specialize in chronic pain and illness. And September is Chronic Pain Awareness Month. So I wanted to put out some tangible tools for people to use that might help improve your quality of life, your understanding, and just help you cope better because this is hard. I myself also struggle with chronic pain and illness, so I get it, I understand it, and it's one of the reasons why I shifted my own specialty and my niche in my counseling practice. Because it was important for me to work with the people that were also going through stuff that I'd been through in my life. Because I understand it's a tough journey. So today I wanted to create this video about the psychological stages slash changes that we go through when we have chronic illness and chronic pain. Um, and it's important to note that these stages or changes are not linear. So, all of my type A people out there, you're not going to go, okay, what's step one? I want to get step one done. Okay, now let's go to step two. I just want to get this whole list done. I want to be done with it. I wish that it worked like that. I wish that it was that easy to just check things off and, bam, 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 I'm done. I'm feeling great. Unfortunately, it's not. And even though I'm going to go through these in a numeric way, not everybody starts with a one and goes that way. Sometimes people start on what I'm going to call number five. So just know if you're saying, well, I felt like that, but not in that order, that's okay. You can feel all of these in one day. You can stay in one stage for months. So it's really okay. Um, Nobody copes the same. It's just that we all kind of have these shared experiences. And these were some of the similarities that I've seen and that I've read about just over the last couple years. So just know, not linear, and it's you don't have to start in stage one. So the first stage that I want to talk about is denial. Typically stage one, but doesn't have to be. Um, Denial is when we're really ignoring the symptoms. We notice that our body is starting to change. Maybe we have low energy. Maybe our sleep is disrupted. Our pain is up. We're getting sick all the time. Something is changing, but we don't know what that means. And we're just kind of pushing that in the background. I feel like, especially as Americans, we're really good at pushing stuff away that doesn't fit into what we want, into what we envision our life to look like. So we ignore it. And what happens is it can be really harmful even after you get the diagnosis to remain in a stage of denial, because if you're denying that this is what's going on with your body, then chances are you're not giving yourself what you need, which can be pretty harmful. Um, and it's also exhausting to mask how you feel. When I got sick and I was working and I was in like the height of my career, I loved what I did. I was working with children and doing therapy and traveling and working with the Department of Defense. And I didn't want to be sick. And so I masked it from everybody. And it was exhausting. And I would go home and crash. And I just ignored what I needed. And I think it actually, at that time, made me sicker than I could have been if I had just taken care of myself. So denial is I think everybody goes through it, but we really need to work to minimize the impact of the denial. So the second one is the pleading and bargaining stage, where we're just in this state of desperation of, I will do anything to feel better again. And maybe if you're a person that believes in a higher power, maybe you're bargaining with them, like, I promise that I will be the best person and I'll go to church every week and I'll volunteer and I'll donate my money if I can just be well again. And it makes sense why we want to do that because our health is so important to us. And it's really the foundation that we base our life on. We have to feel good in order to, for like almost every aspect of our life. And we have to be able to manage that well. And this is also the stage where we can become fixated on finding a cure. I myself was so desperate to find something to make me feel better, to make the pain go away. I probably tried every like gadget, gizmo, snake oil out there because all of them are marketed towards chronic pain, like make your chronic pain go away, cure your chronic pain. Chronic pain is pretty hard to cure. It can be, you can work with it, but if somebody's telling you that they're going to cure you, your red flag should go up on that. So we waste a lot of money because we want to feel better. Um, and it's really also like a stage that can be driven by guilt. You know, if I had only done this better, or if I had eaten more vegetables, and so I'll just eat more vegetables now, and it's gonna make me magically feel better. And it just doesn't work that way. So that's number two. Number three is anger. And this is one of the most difficult. They're all difficult, but anger is a super hard emotion to sit with. Nobody likes to sit with anger. We like to push it away or push it down, suppress it because it doesn't make us feel good. And so when that bargaining piece doesn't work, when we go to all of these different, different cures and we buy all these things, and when that doesn't work, you're going to be pissed off. Excuse my language, but you are. And that feeling is so incredibly healthy and it's okay and it is very appropriate to feel that way. I just want to normalize that. If you're mad, you should be mad because it isn't fair. I don't like that term, but it's not. And a lot of people get into that mindset of like this isn't fair. A lot of resentment maybe towards other people might build up. And anger can be a really good and healthy way to heal, but you have to know how to work with it. And that's where the therapy can come in because, like I said, sitting with anger is not fun. So you have to find ways that are healthy to process this, whether it's um, journaling, whether it's doing something physical that you're able to do in your body. Um, a lot of people will make YouTube channels on their pain and just start to process what's happening to them. So it's really important to find healthy ways to work with that anger. And the more effective we are at handling the anger, the easier it's going to be to actually manage any kind of symptoms that we have. Because when we're angry, our entire body tenses up. And when our body tenses up and the muscles and the ligaments and all of that stuff, we are going to be in more pain. I could do like an entire video series on how anger affects chronic pain, but it's not good. So the better that we can deal with that, the easier it's going to make it for us in the long run. And I'm just doing a very quick, brief overview. Again, all of these could be like their own video, if not their own series. So this is just providing the framework for you to understand what you might be feeling. But number four is anxiety and depression. Again, very, very normal and appropriate response when your entire life has been flipped upside down. It's not something that you're going to snap out of. I really get annoyed when people are like, just snap out of it. See the silver lining. The glass is half full, blah, blah, blah. No, you know what? If you have chronic pain, you're going to be there's going to be some aspects of depression because along with that, there's sacrifices that you have to make. Your life can change dramatically. And anxiety often goes hand in hand with that because now there's even more that you can't control in your life. And there's this like wild card variable that you don't know what the future is going to look like. And I'm not trying to sound all doom and gloom here, but I just want to normalize because sometimes people feel bad for feeling bad. And when you feel bad for feeling bad, you're adding a whole nother layer on top of all of this that doesn't need to be there. And so if you're feeling depressed, if you're feeling anxious, know that that's normal. I'm validating that 1,000% right now. And treat yourself with compassion. That is going to help you feel better treating yourself with compassion than shaming yourself for feeling a certain kind of way. Shaming does not work. So just accepting that, yeah, you know what? I am sad and that's okay. And I just really need to treat myself with some loving kindness and some compassion right now. It's really hard to do when you're not used to putting yourself first. So again, finding a therapist who can work with you and exploring that depression, exploring that anxiety, and finding ways to cope with those that are going to work for you um, is really crucial. The fifth one is your loss of self and confusion about that. So when you have chronic pain, you often have to give up key aspects of yourself. Maybe you were a super active person that ran marathons. Maybe you were career oriented and you worked 70 hours a week and that was what defined you. Maybe you were a mother, a husband, or whatever your role was, that you lost some of that because you can no longer show up in the same ways. And so there's this grieving that happens when you're like, who am I? Um, that was one of the hardest things for me is being like, I don't feel like Kelly. I don't know where she went, and no, I don't like this new person I've had to become. And so again, what therapy can help with is finding how to bring pieces of yourself into your new reality. Which brings me into the next step, which is reevaluating your life, your roles, and your goals. Um, what does my life look like now? What does it look like for me to be in my career? Well, for me, it no longer looked like I was living in the Caribbean doing private practice and working for the Department of Defense as a contractor. Mine now looks that I have my own company and I do online therapy in my home, and my commute is 5 seconds from my bedroom. You know, this life that I've built is great, but it's very different from the one that I was living when I got sick. So, reevaluating things. What do you want your life to look like? What's within your reason, or what's within your reality of making that happen? And this is essential to getting to the final one that I'm going to talk about today, which is acceptance. Um, and I know when you say acceptance and chronic pain, it just turns people off. Like they're like, ugh, you have no idea. Like, why would I ever want to live with this? This is not okay. That's not what acceptance is. Acceptance is not throwing in the white towel. It's not saying, I give up, whatever, you win, I quit. It's not saying that this is okay. It's accepting the reality of the situation and recognizing that this is somewhat permanent and that things are going to have to be different, and that's okay, and learning to live with it and learning to make it what you want it to look like within those parameters. um, Accepting is about having accommodations and alterations in your life. um, when I was working in higher education, I had a lot of accommodations at work because my work day and my work week didn't look the same as everybody else's. And so I needed those accommodations to get through the day. And so you're going to need some accommodations, whatever it is that you do. When I cook, I sit on a stool. when I do anything, when I put on my makeup, I sit on a stool, I do things differently, and I've gotten to a place where I've accepted the reality. So then I can be creative and go like, okay, I know this is going to happen. So what can I do to make it better for myself? And that's a game changer because it feels like you have more control over things. Um, so again, these these are not steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You might feel all of them, you might feel them linear, who knows? But you could also feel all of these in one day. Sometimes I think I might go through all of them within 5 seconds, maybe 5 minutes, 15 minutes. But once you've done the work, it makes when you go back to those steps, when you go back to that anger, you work through it faster because you've already done it. And maybe there's something new that makes you angry and that you're not able to do, like something new comes up in your life and you're like, "Oh, I wish I wasn't sick." It's not going to be the same as it was in the beginning when you dealt with it because you've already done that work. You already know what to do. So now, yeah, I'm going to have a bad day. Yeah, I'm going to be mad. Yeah, there's going to be days where I'm going to be like, I don't have my condition. I'm going to go out and I'm going to bike 16 miles. And then the next day I'm going to remember that, yeah, I do. And it's just important to have these really real conversations with yourself, because it's your quality of life. And all of these can be extremely, extremely difficult to work through. And I can't stress enough how important it is to get a therapist who understands. Find somebody who specializes in chronic pain. Um, I think that it's kind of important that the person has some kind of experience with it, whether it be a family member or themselves, because chronic pain is such an individualized experience that people can say, yeah, I understand what you're going through. It must be tough. But until you've been there on the front lines, you might not get it. And so I have a lot of patients that come to me and have been in therapy and that wasn't helpful because maybe their therapist didn't have a good understanding of chronic pain. And that's okay. We all can't be specialists in everything, but find the person that you can work well with. And it's going to be an essential part of your medical team to have somebody on your side. So um, I hope everybody's having a low pain day, and I will see you soon. Take care.